What's up, guys? Adele here with Nile Kid Tech, coming back to you with another episode. I'm shooting this on Super Bowl Sunday, 2018 that is, so hopefully your favorite team, whether it be the Pats or the Eagles, go Eagles, would win. So I'm coming here today to discuss ISO in relationship to the Sony a6300. That's the series that I've been working on. This is the fourth episode. More episodes to come as I break down this DSLR camera bit by bit for you. I have been using it. I really been loving it. I can't complain about it, and I cannot wait to get all these series done. Thanks for all the feedback I've been getting. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. I do tech reviews, travel videos, all that kind of fun stuff. Thanks for watching, and let's talk about ISO. So let's talk ISO. ISO is the third point in the exposure triangle I mentioned in previous episodes. All DSLRs have an option to adjust the ISO up or down, not only the Sony a6300. ISO is the measure of the sensor's sensitivity to light. Remember, aperture was for controlling the amount of the light that will hit the sensor, while shutter speed is how long the sensor will be exposed to that light. There's a simple rule to remember when it comes to ISO. Are you in a dark place or a well-lit place? The more light the subject has, the less the ISO. In the Sony a6300, the lowest ISO setting is 100, which is pretty much the standard in most DSLRs, and that would probably be the most common setting to use for outdoors on a bright day. On the opposite side is a higher ISO for darker or indoor subjects. The Sony a6300 can go as high as 51,200 ISO. Okay, but it's not that simple. The higher ISO, the more grain or noise the picture has. In other words, the image produced won't be as sharp as the lower ISO image. Let me show you some sample examples of images I shot with the Sony a6300. They were shot in the evening from my bedroom window. First image was shot with an ISO of 100, while the next image that follows was shot at the highest ISO setting the a6300 has, which is, as I mentioned, is 51,200. If you focus your eyesight on the sky where the red circle is, you will notice the grain in the second image when compared to the first one. Common everyday situations where you might need to increase your ISO would be things like concerts, museums, or indoor sports events, or if you simply want the grainy look on your image. And to master the art of picking the right ISO setting, I always recommend shoot on auto in different situations and see what the camera picks as an ISO setting and make note of it. This should be both fun and educational. It's worth mentioning that from the reviews of the Sony a6300 all over the internet, you will see the Sony got both the autofocus and the low light thing correct with these models. Most people that own this model just absolutely love the performance of the autofocus as well as the low light or the high ISO setting. Alright, so let me go ahead and show you how to adjust the ISO setting on the camera itself. So I know I promised you that we're still discussing the top dials before we move on to other settings that I'm teaching you in this series on the Sony a6300. But because the ISO does affect the aperture as well as the shutter speed, it made sense to talk about it, although it's not the setting to adjust it is not on this dial. So with the Sony a6300, the setting for the ISO is here and right there on the back of the camera, which is good because this is the one thing that you might need to adjust on the fly as you start shooting. Give me 1 second while I get it into focus. All right, here we go. All right, so let me start off by turning on the camera. All right, and look right here. Once you hit the ISO, so it's telling me that I cannot use it because I have the camera on the auto setting, and as I mentioned in the auto setting, the camera takes care of setting up the ISO. So in order for you to be able to adjust it, you gotta move it to the program or aperture or shutter speed or even the manual option, which I'll be talking about next. So while we're in the aperture setting, let's go ahead and show you how to adjust it. So you hit the ISO button, and as you could see, I had it on the highest ISO so I could take that sample image I just showed you. And from there you could go ahead and move it down all the way to the lowest setting of 100, or you could leave it at auto. And that's it. You pretty much are adjusting it on the fly. Very simple, very straightforward. And I've noticed, at least on my Panasonic, and I've seen them on other Canon cameras, that most ISO buttons are in this location right here. All right, let's talk about manual settings then. All right, guys, this marks the end of this episode. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something new out of it. If you did, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. We really do appreciate it. Keep coming back for more of these videos, and we'll talk to you soon.